If I could sit down with my younger self, maybe at 50, 60, or even 65, I would have a lot to say. Not about career achievements, financial success, or chasing after things that, in hindsight, never really mattered. No, I would tell myself to stop worrying about the things that won't hold meaning in the years to come. To cherish the present before it slips away. But life doesn't give us a handbook, does it? We don't get a preview of the lessons ahead. We learn by living, by trying, failing, and growing. Now, with over 7 decades of experience behind me, I see things differently. I've gained a wisdom that only time can teach. And today, I want to share it with you, so you won't have to take as long as I did to understand what truly matters. So, if you're ready for a perspective shift that could change the way you see the rest of your life, stick with me for the next 20 minutes. And if you find value in this message, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot and helps spread these insights to those who need them most. Now, let's begin. 1. Happiness has never been ahead, it has always been right here. For most of my life, I chased happiness as if it were a distant finish line. I believed it resided in my next accomplishment, my next milestone, in some future version of myself, one that was better, thinner, wealthier, or more successful. I thought happiness was a prize to be earned, something just out of reach, a reward waiting on the other side of my struggles. I will be happy when I retire, I lose weight, my children are settled, I pay off my house, I have more time, more money. But what I wish I had realized sooner is this: happiness is not waiting for you somewhere down the road, it has been here all along. We grow up believing that life is a series of achievements, that contentment is something we will find later. Yet, every time we reach what we once thought would bring us joy, we simply set another goal. The satisfaction lasts for a fleeting moment before we are off chasing the next thing. We tell ourselves, just one more step, just one more accomplishment, and then I'll finally feel at peace. But happiness does not reside in your next promotion or in shedding those last 5 pounds. It is not locked away in the dream home you aspire to own or the vacation you are meticulously planning. It is not hidden in some flawless version of yourself that you are endlessly trying to sculpt. Happiness is in the small, quiet moments we often overlook because we are too busy chasing something else. It is in the golden morning light filtering through the window as you sip your first cup of coffee. It is in the warm embrace of a grandchild, in the sound of laughter shared with an old friend. It is in the gentle rustling of leaves on a summer evening, in the first bite of a home-cooked meal, in the familiar melody of a song playing on the radio. I have met people who spent their entire lives pursuing their dreams, only to reach their goals and continue searching for something more. And I have met those who had little, no grand achievements, no wealth, no fame, yet radiated a pure, unshakable joy. Why? Because they understood something that takes most of us a lifetime to realize. Happiness is not a destination, it is a way of being. I once spoke with an elderly friend, a man in his 80s. He told me, when I was younger, I thought happiness was something I had to chase. But the older I got, the more I realized I had been walking past it every single day without even noticing. It was always there, I just wasn't paying attention. That conversation stayed with me. Because if you are always running toward happiness, you will never reach it. But if you stop, truly stop, you will see that joy has been there all along, simply waiting for you to recognize it. You don't have to wait until you retire, until you achieve the perfect body, or until life aligns perfectly. You don't have to wait for everything to be just right. You can choose happiness now. Not because life is perfect, not because everything is easy, but because, finally, you understand, happiness was never hiding. It was simply waiting for you to notice. 2. Health is your greatest asset, and it's never too late to take care of yourself. When we're young, we move through life as if our bodies are invincible. We push ourselves to the limit, neglect basic needs, and assume that health is something we can always reclaim later. Late nights, skipped meals, stress, and bad habits, none of it seems to matter. Because we believe time is on our side. But, later, arrives faster than we expect. One day, We wake up and realize our body has been keeping a silent record of every choice we've made. Aches and pains that were once temporary become persistent. Energy levels fluctuate. Movements that once felt effortless now require conscious effort. It is then that we understand, our body has always been our most loyal companion, absorbing the weight of our decisions, whether good or bad. For a long time, I thought health was about appearance, about numbers on a scale, fitting into old clothes, or following strict diet plans. I saw it as a matter of discipline, willpower, and external validation. But over time, I've come to realize that true health is something much deeper. It's the ability to kneel down and play with your grandchildren without wincing in pain. It's the strength to walk through a crisp autumn breeze and feel steady on your feet. It's waking up feeling refreshed rather than exhausted. It's the freedom to enjoy life without being burdened by doctors' visits and medication schedules. I've met people in their 70s who radiate vitality, who move with energy, who embrace each day with enthusiasm. And I've met others, barely 60, who have resigned themselves to decline, believing that their best years are behind them. The difference isn't luck. The difference is choice. Think of your body as a garden. If you neglect it, weeds will take over, muscles will weaken, joints will stiffen, and energy will diminish. But if you tend to it, even with small, consistent efforts, it will thrive. A simple morning stretch, an evening walk, a conscious choice to nourish yourself. These small acts accumulate into a life filled with strength, mobility, and well-being. That doesn't mean we can completely escape the challenges that come with aging. Changes will happen, no matter how well we care for ourselves. But what it does mean is that we have far more control than we realize. I once knew a woman in her 80s who walked every single day. Rain or shine. She wasn't training for a marathon. She wasn't obsessed with exercise. She simply understood that movement is life. She once told me, "If I stop walking, I'll never start again." She had watched too many friends lose their mobility, not because they had to, but because they gradually stopped using it. The truth is, we don't grow weak because we age. We age because we stop using our strength. If I could go back in time, I would tell my younger self to care for my body, not to look better, but to live better. I would remind myself that every small decision, a short walk, an extra hour of sleep, a home-cooked meal, is an investment in my future self. But here's the good news, it's never too late. The human body is remarkably resilient. Whether you're 30, 60, or 90, your body will respond to the care you give it. Muscles can regain strength, joints can become more flexible, and energy can return. A single change, adding more vegetables to your meals, taking a stroll in the evening, stretching in the morning, can trigger a chain reaction, making you feel better with each passing day. There is a stronger, healthier, more vibrant version of you waiting, not in some distant future, but in the small choices you make today. Your body is the only home you will ever truly live in. Care for it well, and it will care for you in return. 3. There are 3 things more important than anything else. Relationships. If I had the chance to live my life again, I wouldn't ask for more wealth, more success, or more possessions. I would ask for more time with the people I love. More conversations, more shared laughter, more quiet moments that I once overlooked in my pursuit of other things. When I was young, I believed that achievements would define my legacy. I worked hard, chased success, and built a life I thought would bring fulfillment. But over the years, I have come to realize a simple truth. The things I once strived for, titles, financial security, personal milestones, mattered far less than I imagined. They brought temporary satisfaction, but they did not provide lasting fulfillment. What truly holds meaning, what remains with me, is people. I have sat beside friends in their final days, held their hands, and listened to their last reflections. Not once, never, have I heard anyone say, "I wish I had spent more time working," or, "I wish I had bought a bigger house." Instead, they say, "I wish I had spent more time with my family. I wish I had told my friends how much they meant to me. I wish I had let go of resentment sooner." And so, I have learned a profound lesson. our deepest regrets are not about what we have done but about the love we failed to express. The relationships we allowed to fade. And the moments we were too busy to cherish. We live in a world that glorifies independence, self-sufficiency, and personal success. But the truth is, we were never meant to walk through life alone. No amount of achievements, wealth, or personal triumphs can replace the warmth of human connection, the embrace of a child, the shared memories with an old friend, or the comforting voice of a lifelong companion. At the end of it all, what matters most are the people we have loved and the love we have given. 4. The 3 most important relationships. Those who have known us for decades. These are life's greatest treasures, the kind of riches that no amount of money can ever buy. I once held onto grudges, believing that time alone would heal all wounds. That distance would naturally close itself. But time does not mend what is broken, only love and effort can do that. Pride steals away years, anger steals away moments, and distance steals away the people we once held dear. If I could turn back time, I would choose to forgive more quickly. I would be the first to reach out. I would say, "I love you," more often, instead of assuming that people already knew. The greatest wealth I possess now is not found in my bank account. It exists in the voices that echo through my home, in the friendships that have endured the test of time, in the people who still pick up the phone just to ask how I'm doing. It is present in the laughter shared around the dinner table, in the handwritten letters from my grandchildren, in the stories exchanged over a simple cup of coffee. If you are holding on to anger, let it go. If there is someone you miss, reach out to them. If love is in your heart, speak it aloud. Life moves faster than we realize. And one day, all that will remain are the memories of how we made others feel and how they made us feel in return. At the end of our journey, our worth will not be measured by what we owned or the goals we achieved. It will be measured by the love we gave, the kindness we showed, and the relationships we nurtured. Because when everything else fades away, love is the only thing that truly remains. 5. The fear of aging is more terrifying than aging itself. There was a time when I feared growing old, not just because of the physical changes, the wrinkles, the silver hair, the slowing steps, but because of something deeper. I feared becoming irrelevant. I feared losing my purpose. I feared watching time slip through my fingers faster than I could grasp it. But now, after decades of life, I see things differently. Aging is not something to fear, it is something to embrace, to cherish. The real tragedy of growing older is not the passing years themselves. It is wasting those years worrying about them instead of living them fully. When I was young, I thought aging meant fading away, retreating from the world. But now I understand that aging is not about diminishing, it is about deepening. It is about seeing life through wiser eyes, about letting go of unnecessary burdens, about finally living with clarity and ease. Aging has given me gifts I never expected. It has granted me patience, the ability to sit in stillness without feeling the need to prove anything. It has granted me wisdom, to know what truly matters and the courage to let go of what doesn't. It has granted me freedom from the endless chase, from comparisons, from measuring my worth against the expectations of others. And yet, I see so many people fighting against age as if it were an enemy. They battle it with creams, dyes, procedures, as if erasing the marks of time could somehow halt its passage. But time is not the enemy. The true enemy is the belief that our value fades with the years. I have met people in their 80s and 90s who are more alive than some in their 30s. Not because they have escaped aging, but because they have embraced it. They choose to keep learning, to keep laughing, to keep discovering the world. I once knew a woman who started painting at 78, a man who began writing poetry at 85, a friend who took her first solo trip at 70. Aging does not take away our ability to live fully, only the fear of aging does that. The real loss is not in the wrinkles on our faces but in losing our curiosity. In believing that our best days are behind us rather than ahead. In shrinking our world out of fear instead of expanding it with wonder. Now, I have wrinkles, but they are not just lines on my skin. They are stories, proof that I have laughed, that I have cried, that I have lived. My hands are no longer as smooth as they once were. But they have held those I love. built a life, created memories. My body moves more slowly, but it still carries me through this world, still allows me to feel the beauty of life. So no, I no longer fear aging. I only fear not living while I still can. The greatest mistake we can make is wasting the precious years we have left wishing to be young again instead of treasuring the incredible privilege of growing old. Because the truth is, aging is not about losing youth, it is about gaining life. And I intend to savor every remaining moment of it. 6. The best time to try something new is right now. There was a time when I believed that new beginnings were reserved for the young. I thought that learning a new skill, pursuing a new passion, or exploring a different version of myself was only for those who had decades ahead of them. I assumed that after a certain age, life was meant for maintenance rather than discovery, for routines rather than possibilities. I was wrong. I've come to realize that the only real limitation is the belief that it's too late to start over. Too late to try something different. Too late to chase a dream. But the truth is, the best time to try something new is right now. We all had dreams that we were too afraid or too busy to pursue. But if life has taught me anything, it's this: the moment you decide to begin, whether you think it's too late or not, is the moment you prove that it never really was. I've met people who picked up a paintbrush for the first time in their 60s and uncovered an artist within them that had been waiting for decades to emerge. I've met people who started writing, learned to play an instrument, or became fluent in a new language, not because they wanted to be the best, but simply because they finally allowed themselves to enjoy the process. I've seen individuals return to school in their 70s, find new love in their 80s, and embark on their first world adventure in their 90s. The idea that we must stop growing because of our age is nothing more than a lie that robs people of the richness of life. That prevents us from evolving, learning, and waking up each day with the thrill of something new ahead. There are no rules stating that you must stop dreaming after 60. No law says you must kill your curiosity when you retire. There is no expiration date on trying something for the first time. Yet so many people hesitate. They worry about looking foolish, about failing, about not being as sharp as they once were. But let me tell you this: growth is not about being the best. It's about being better than you were yesterday. It's about challenging yourself, expanding your mind, and allowing yourself to once again be a beginner. I once met a man who had always wanted to learn to play the piano but convinced himself he was too old. "What's the point?" he said. "By the time I'm any good, I'll be 70. And I asked him, "If you don't learn, how old will you be then?" Time will pass whether you choose to act or not. The years will come and go, whether you fill them with new experiences or let them slip by unnoticed. So the real question is, how do you want to live those years? Do you want to look back with regret for all the things you never tried? Or do you want to move forward with excitement, knowing that every day still holds the potential for something new? I used to think that the best time to start was when I was younger. But now I know that the best time is right now, not yesterday. Not tomorrow, but this very moment. Because the only barrier between you and the life you still dream of is your decision to step forward and begin. 7. Let go of what you cannot control. For years, I carried burdens that were never truly mine to bear. I worried endlessly about the future, tormented myself over past mistakes, held on to anger over things I could never change, and struggled desperately to control the uncontrollable. I believed that if I planned well enough, worried long enough, and tried hard enough, I could keep everything within my grasp. I convinced myself that if I just held on tightly, life would unfold exactly as I wished. But life, as it often does, had its own way of teaching me otherwise. It whispered through small disappointments and shouted through painful lessons, revealing an undeniable truth: control is an illusion. No matter how much effort we pour into shaping our reality, there will always be things beyond our reach. A loved one will leave. A plan will fall apart. A door we once pinned our hopes on will close without warning, and no amount of worrying can alter these inevitable tides. For too long, I exhausted myself over things that were never mine to control: other people's opinions, their choices, the passage of time, the unpredictability of life itself, or the past, no matter how many times I replayed it. I could never rewrite it. Then one day, a realization struck me. The weight on my shoulders was not heavy because life was unfair, but because I refused to put it down. We spend so much time resisting what is, trying to force reality into our preferred shape, only to find ourselves drained and resentful when it doesn't comply. But life is not a battle against what we cannot change. Life is about learning to embrace it, even in uncertainty. Letting go does not mean we stop caring. It does not mean we give up or become passive. It means we choose peace over resistance. It means understanding the difference between what we can change and what we cannot. It means trusting that even amid uncertainty, life has a way of unfolding as it should. I once heard someone say that worrying is like carrying an umbrella all day, just in case it rains. And that made me wonder, how many times have we gripped anxiety, fear, and stress over things that may never even happen? How much time have we wasted trying to control the uncontrollable, instead of simply living? If I could go back in time, I would tell myself, put the burden down. Let go of what steals your peace. Forgive faster. Accept what is. And trust that no matter how life unfolds, you will be okay. And if you are still carrying burdens that were never yours to hold, I hope you find the courage to let them go. 8. The small moments are always the most important ones. We spend so much of our lives chasing grand moments, milestones, achievements, and triumphs we believe will define us. We tell ourselves that these are the things that matter most: a promotion, a dream vacation, a bigger house, a remarkable success. But when I look back, I realize a profound truth. The big moments have never been what truly shaped my life. It is the small moments that hold the deepest value. The warmth of a child's tiny hand gripping mine as we cross the street. The echoes of laughter filling the kitchen on a quiet Sunday afternoon. The soft hum of my mother singing while she cooked, filling not just the house with fragrant aromas but also my heart with something that felt like love. It's the long conversations over a cup of coffee. The way my dog rests his head on my lap. The peaceful stillness of the morning before the world fully wakes up. These are the moments that stay with me. But when we're young, we don't recognize their significance. When we are young, we rush through these moments, dismissing them as ordinary. We convince ourselves that the best days are still ahead, waiting for us to reach them. We fail to realize that this, right here, is life. These fleeting, quiet moments are what we will long for when they are gone. I have witnessed people in their final days. And do you know what they talk about? They don't speak of their greatest accomplishments, the money they earned, or the awards they won. They recall the way their partner looked at them across the dinner table, the sound of their children's laughter filling the house, the sensation of lying on the grass on a summer afternoon, staring at the sky without a single worry. They speak of the love they gave and the love they received. They remember the small, seemingly insignificant moments, the ones they never expected to matter but, in the end, meant everything. So, I no longer chase after the grand things. I no longer wait for life to begin at some distant milestone. Instead, I pay closer attention. I notice the way the light shifts in the afternoon. I cherish the phone calls, the messages, the unexpected encounters. I sit longer, listen more deeply, and love more fully. Because one day, these moments will turn into memories. And when I look back, I want to know that I did not miss the most beautiful parts of my life simply because I was waiting for something greater to arrive. So if you are searching for happiness in some faraway future, stop. Look around. It has been here all along, hidden in the ordinary. And one day, you will understand, it was never ordinary at all. This moment, right now, is your time. 9. If there's one thing I know for sure, it's this: life is not measured by time, but by how we choose to live it. And the saddest thing I have ever witnessed, more heartbreaking than loss, failure, or hardship, is watching people reach the end of their journey only to realize they spent too much of it waiting. Waiting to be happier, waiting to be thinner, richer, or more successful, waiting for the right moment to begin something new, waiting for an apology that never came, waiting for the perfect opportunity to say, I love you, to take that long dreamed of trip, to fully embrace life. But if time has taught me anything, it is this: there is no perfect moment. There is only now. Life doesn't pause while we search for answers. It moves forward, whether we are ready or not. It moves as we hesitate, as we overthink, as we wait for our fears to disappear. And before we realize it, years have slipped through our fingers. Opportunities have vanished. The people we love have grown older. The precious moments we took for granted have turned into distant memories we wish we had held onto just a little tighter. But I have also learned something just as important. It is never too late to start living. It is never too late to forgive, to let go. It is never too late to pick up the phone, to try something new, to say yes to life in all its messy, unpredictable, imperfect beauty. If I have learned anything from the people I have met in their final days, from my own experiences, from countless hours of reflection, it is this: you are never too old to love, to dream, to laugh, to grow. The greatest tragedy is not growing older, it is reaching the end and realizing you never truly lived. So, stop waiting. Don't waste another year, another month, another day trapped in regrets about a past you cannot change or hopes for a future that is not guaranteed. Open your heart, stretch out your arms, and embrace the life that is unfolding before you right now. Because when the moment comes to look back on your life, you won't remember the fears that once held you back. You won't care about the opinions of others. You won't wish you had spent more time worrying about things beyond your control. What you will remember is love. You will remember the laughter, the adventures, big and small, the kindness you gave and the kindness you received. And if you live fully, if you choose to be present, then when the time comes to say goodbye, you will go without regret. Because you will know, without a doubt, that you truly lived. These lessons are meant to inspire you, to encourage you to live a life that feels real and whole. And I would love to hear from you. What is one thing you have learned that you plan to apply to your life? Let's walk this journey together. If you enjoyed this video, comment 1 below. If not, comment 0. Your feedback is incredibly valuable to us. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more meaningful content like this. Thank you for watching, and may you live life on your own terms.